Well, ladies and gentlemen, I officially did not win the race for President of the United States. I will say congrats, Joe Biden. Congrats on a race well run, though I did give you a fight. But guess I'm going to have to stick with what I know, and that's sports. So let's chat sports. Good afternoon and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick Drago. Today on the show, we have to talk about the Jets because they're in the news, but not for winning a single football game this year. No, they're a little bit more interesting than that. Of course, James Harden could be on the move, and you would definitely want to hear what team is a top contender at the moment. And how could we not talk about when the NBA season comes back? Friends, stick with us because sports starts now. And welcome to the Sports Podcast with me, your host, Nick Drago. For those of you that are new to the show, welcome to my humble abode. We like to talk about all the sports news and information from the previous week and go into what's around the corner for the next week, month, year, etc. What'd you guys do this weekend? I had a pretty good weekend, right? I helped build some walls in our basement. We got a nice laundry room down there now. Hung out with a friend on Saturday. That was cool. And let's see, the people of Philadelphia, now they're having a good time. There's like folks riding horses down the street. They're like dance battles going on downtown. I cannot wait to see our COVID cases rise yet again in 2 weeks. But good on you guys having fun out there. Beyond that, I don't know, life's been pretty good. All right, so why don't we do this? Before we start talking about all the sports fun stuff, I actually want to get into something a little bit more serious. ESPN laid off 300 workers this week and eliminated 200 positions. That's 500 total positions. I just wanted to give my condolences to those who recently lost their jobs, and one sports enthusiast to another. I just wish you guys the best and hope that something comes around the corner really soon. Just good luck, guys. All right, so let's start a chatting. Hold on one sec. I'm sorry, my phone, something going weird with my phone. Do you ever have a problem with your phone before? All right, so the NFL. Yeah, we got a lot of games to talk about in NFL land this week. The Packers defeated the 49ers 34-17. Good win there. Jaguars got a win. The Texans got a win over the Jaguars 27-25. Deshaun Watson, 280 yards and 2 TDs. Man, this was a close one. Houston was up throughout most of the game. Jaguars came back late and tried to hold on to that lead or get the lead, and they never did. The Giants actually got a win over Washington. Look at that, 23-20. Again, almost similar games. Giants had the lead for most of it, and then Washington came back strong towards the later on. That's a real thing. Ravens killing the Colts 24-10. By the way, welcome back Dez Bryant with the Ravens. He was on the practice squad for them. Nothing really exciting for him in the game. However, he was on the practice squad. They elevated him up to the real team. Dez has not played since 2017 with the Cowboys. He tried to make a comeback with the Saints in 2018 and tore his Achilles. He's been constantly working out and trying to get back in shape to be back on the field. But if you recall, the Ravens actually offered him a contract after the Cowboys let him go, and he did not take it. I bet he is regretting that now. Vikings, they get a win over the Lions, 34-20. Titans beat the Bears, 24-17. Panthers lose the Chiefs, but it was close. Very close, 33-31. Chiefs get a win there, and an exciting day for Pat Mahomes, breaking a record. I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet, but we're going to get to that. Bills and the Seahawks. Bills surprisingly got a win here. 44-34. Fantastic day by Josh Allen. 3 touchdowns, 415 yards, putting on a school for Russell Westbrook. By the way, Pete Carroll signed a 5-year extension with the Seahawks, well deserved. Falcons got a win over the Broncos finally, 34-27. Raiders beat the Chargers 31-26. Dolphins getting a win over the Cardinals, although I have to say this was an insane game for Kyler Murray. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had over 100 yards rushing and 1 rushing touchdown himself. Murray is an animal. But the Dolphins were just too much, really. Dolphins lost 5 of their assistants, by the way, due to COVID protocols. For this game. Steelers got a win over the Cowboys, 24-19. They continue to be undefeated. Nice game for them. 3 TDs for Mr. Big Ben Roethlisberger. And right now, the Saints and the Buccaneers, they are playing each other at 7-0 in favor of the Saints, but it's still early in the first quarter. And then tomorrow, on a normal year, it'd be exciting to see the Patriots and the Jets play together. This year, maybe not so much. The Jets are 0-8. The Patriots are 2-5. It's really not the type of game that I would ever want to see. But let's look at the standings now. Seahawks are that's a noise. Seahawks are in first in the NFC West, 6-2, followed by the Cardinals at 5-3. Rams are 5-3, and the 49ers are 4-5. 49ers injuries are piling up big time, and it is hurting. The Eagles get a win. The Eagles are ahead in the NFC East, 3-4. They had the bye with this week. The Washington football team, 2-6. Cowboys, 2-7. And the Giants, 2-7. Again, this division, so close. So close. NFC South has the Buccaneers on top, 6-2. Saints are 5-2. Falcons are 3-6. And the Panthers are also 3-6. NFC North has the Packers ahead, 6-2. Bears are 5-4. Vikings are 3-5. And the Lions also 3-5. So let's say the playoffs started right here, right now. Obviously, you'd have the Packers, the Bucks, the Eagles, and the Seahawks. Eagles would be hosting a game with a losing record, by the way, at 3-4. But you'd have those 5 teams, and then you'd have the... there's a lot of teams that are close at 5-2 here. I think it would be the Saints, and then definitely be the Saints, and then the Cardinals after that. All right, let's see the AFC. Bills are 7-2, the Dolphins 5-3, Patriots 2-5, and the Jets still 0-8. Come on, Jets. Let's get one win. Let's get a win tomorrow. Let's beat the Patriots, right? Come on. Anyway, AFC South, the Titans are 6-2, Colts are 5-3, Texans 2-6, and the Jags are 1-7. AFC North has the Steelers at 8-0, Ravens 6-2, Browns 5-3, and the Bengals at 2-5-1. By the way, I think I didn't mention the Eagles do have a tie. I did not mention that earlier. Chiefs are 8-1, Raiders 5-3, Broncos 3-5, and the Chargers are 2-6. And for the AFC, your playoff teams right now would be, and hold up here, the Bills at 7-2, right? The Bills, the Titans, the Steelers, the Chiefs. You'd have the Ravens would definitely be getting in. And then after that, you have a few teams at 5-3. The Raiders, the Browns, you have the Colts, and you have the Dolphins, all sort of log-jammed in there. So it could be really any one of those. All right, couple of news stories here. Kyle Allen, I forgot to mention this. Kyle Allen did go down during the Washington football team's game with the Giants. Jabril Peppers did apologize for the injury, but Alex Smith becomes the top QB for them. I mentioned the Dolphins without their assistant coaches due to COVID protocols. I did talk about Des Bryant, Pete Carroll. Oh yeah, Kansas City. Let's talk about this for a second. Pat Mahomes passes Dan Marino as the fastest player to hit 100 touchdowns. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes. So Dan Marino had the record in 44 games. Mahomes is at 101 through 40 career football games. But somebody else also passed the Marino record, and of course, we have to congratulate Lamar Jackson, who is 2-5, tying Dan Marino for the best start by a quarterback. So he tied. I'm sorry, he didn't break the record. He tied, but congratulations, Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes. Both are starting their career on the right foot, and of course being compared to one of the all-time greats. It's got to feel good. Joe Namath, everybody loves Joe Namath, pops out once a year to give his advice on the Jets and anything the Jets should do. The guy probably knows about other football teams too, but he won a Super Bowl for New York, and he seems to believe that Trevor Lawrence is not going to go to the Jets. He might try to, he said he wouldn't be surprised if it happened, but he may try to pull an Eli Manning and demand a trade. And honestly, if I was Trevor Lawrence and I looked and said, oh, I don't know. The problem is going back to school, going back to Clemson, you risk an injury, and that could be it. No more, over. Or do you go to the Jets, you make some money? I know he's talked about going. He's mentioned going back to word talking. Going back to word talking. Staying at Clemson for another year. I think an Eli scenario may be more likely. I don't know how he is as a person. Is he the type that's going to want to be forced out of New York, or is he the type that's going to look at the Jets and say, okay, this is going to be a challenge, but gosh darn it, I'm going to do it. I do recall years ago when Sam Darnold was in the same situation, is they told that, there were the same speculation, same rumors that Sam Darnold would try to stay at USC for another year. What's going to happen? I don't know. Nobody knows. I think Trevor Lawrence is, if the Jets even end up with the number one pick, they could win 2-3 games, let's say, before the end of the season and lose that pick, and that would be normal for the Jets to do something like that. And God, if the Patriots end up with the first pick and take Trevor Lawrence, bridge over it, me jumping, horrible idea. So it's very likely that the Jets may win a game or two, and this is just a moot point. But either way, while we're on the subject of the Jets, Jets players alert the NFL Players Association about hidden locker room cameras in the team facility. Apparently, Jets players found hidden cameras in the locker room in I don't even know. Okay, all right. Breathe here, Nick. Hidden cameras in the locker room inside the smoke detectors? First off, what were they looking for? Why were they doing this? Apparently, so the Jets were given a chance to comment. The NFL commented on their behalf, saying that those cameras have been in place since 2008. Oh, look at this. I get a free trial from the Daily News. No, thank you. They've been in the locker room since 2008 when the team located from Long Island to a new training facility in Florham Park, New Jersey. The league stated that players were aware of the cameras and that they're compliant with league rules. In what world do league rules allow you to spy on your players in the locker room? Like, dudes are just walking around naked in there. They're chatting. It's not like they're doing anything nefarious in the locker room. Maybe they were concerned at the time about steroids or something along those lines back in 2008, if that's even when those cameras were put in. So the Daily News here actually reached out to a number of former Jets players from that 2008 squad and beyond, and all of which were surprised and had no idea. Just very, very bizarre circumstances. By the way, there is a statute in New Jersey addressing the filming of people who are partially or fully naked. And I'm not going to read you this quote here, but that was enacted in 2016. I don't know if it's just New Jersey or the rest of the country, but it took 2016 years for New Jersey to realize it should be illegal to film people naked without their consent. Okay, they do say everything's legal in New Jersey, right? As long as that's what we're sticking with. Like, up until 2016, it was totally normal. Like, just place some cameras in a locker room. I don't know. The whole thing seems pretty fishy to me. Anyway, players are upset about it, and we'll probably hear more about this in the coming days. Can we move on from football? Is it time to move on to something else? All right. Baseball, the Yankees. Yankees are moving around, shuffling their minor league affiliates. So the big three for years, there's so many affiliates nowadays, but the big three for years for them was Scranton Wilkes-Barre, that's their AAA team. Their AA team was the Staten Island Yankees, and single A was the Trenton Thunder. Actually, I think I switched those around. Trenton Thunder was AA. Yep, Trenton Thunder was AA. Staten Island Yankees, they are single A. Anyway, Yankees are shifting things around a little bit. They're moving out of Trenton after 18 years and actually affiliating with an Atlantic League team, the Somerset Patriots. The whole idea of the Atlantic team was built that it was independent baseball, free from the major leagues, but now they're affiliated with the major leagues as well. So that kind of stinks. And then I believe the Staten Island Yankees, they're saying are going to move up to. They're going to move up to the Hudson Valley. So for my friends and family in upstate New York, the Yankees, some baby Yankees could be right around the corner. Baby Bombers, right? By the way, speaking of the Yankees, well, not really the Yankees, more so the Red Sox. The Red Sox have agreed to rehire Alex Cora. If you remember, Alex Cora was their manager, not last season, but the one prior. He was suspended for his part in the Houston Astros cheating scandal because he's a cheater. So, of course, the Red Sox promptly fire him and hire Ron Roanoke. Roenick? I don't know. We're going to go with Roenick. I'm just kidding. Because I'm illiterate and can't say players' names. This is a common occurrence, friends. I can't say names. Anyway, the Red Sox went 24-36 and finished last place in the AL East. So, granted, it's a good reason to fire a coach. And of course, it just so happens that Roenick is available. I'm actually surprised that the Astros didn't do this with A.J. Hinch. Because, by all means, the Astros did well enough, right? They got to the second round of the playoffs. However, the Astros really did not play to the same level that they should have this year. And I'm surprised that they didn't fire and rehire AJ Hinch. But Hinch anyway will go ends up signing with the Tigers, and so the Tigers have a very good coach coaching a very terrible team. But they'll just cheat their way to the top again anyway. This is good news for the Yankees because Carlos Mendoza, their bench coach, was interviewing for the Red Sox job. Gross. But it looks like he'll stick around just a little bit longer. Going to their crosstown rival, the Mets. Very New York-centric baseball section today. I'm sorry. Brodie Van Wagenen. He was fired as the Jets GM. Stephen Cohen just recently bought the team a week ago. He's going to be making some changes. The first is getting rid of the GM. There's a lot of names on the list that he's going to be looking at. So probably will be a few weeks till we have an answer there. But he's also going to be looking for players. And there's some good ones on the market this year. Trevor Bauer, JT Realmuto, who, by the way, is going. I think the Phillies are going to give him a qualifying offer that he's most likely going to deny. The guy wants to get paid, and I don't blame him. You're on the Phillies. They haven't been great the last few years. So good on you, Steve Cohen. Oh, what are we clicking on Twitter here? Firing coach. All right, NBA. So the league has announced that the NBA is coming back. Not Christmas. December 22nd. And I talked about this last week on the show. The NBA, the more they don't play right now, the millions of dollars they are losing. And I believe that it was upwards of $1 billion. If they don't play before January 1st, they would lose at least $1 billion. So, what do? You start the season as soon as possible. You need to give players time to go to training camp. You have some teams who haven't played in 8-9 months, and then you have teams who just finished playing. You know what? those teams who just finished playing, they're going to have a good season anyway. The Lakers are going to have a good season anyway. Maybe not as good a season because the Warriors are going to be back this year. Steph Curry is going to be serving up some trouble. Anyway, and you have the NBA draft. So as soon as the draft happens, things are going to have to move quick. You have to get players back at camp. You have to get training started. Players have to start working out, getting into season shape. But 72-game season, so we're getting most of the season still, and it's going to try and maintain its normal time frame. Hopefully this all works out. Hopefully, nothing, no adverse effects, no players getting hurt, whatever it may be. So I'm sure in the next week or 2 or 3, you're going to hear, probably in the next week, you're going to hear when training camps are going to start up again, and players already starting to get ready, COVID testing, all of that fun stuff for the season. One team in particular is going to have a little bit of trouble. The Toronto Raptors aren't able to cross the border into Canada or out of Canada right now due to COVID. So Toronto's going to have to do something similar to what the Blue Jays did, and that's play somewhere else, right? Blue Jays played a lot of their games in Buffalo this year, and actually had a decent season. Good for the Blue Jays. The Raptors, meanwhile, are a top contending team, possibly a championship caliber one. And so right now I've heard 2 big names drum up as potential places for them to go. One would be Newark, New Jersey, which is a little weird, right? A lot of Jersey fans are Nets or Knicks fans, so to put the Raptors there, I'm not sure. I think the NBA would be smart to put it in a team or a place where they're gonna, I don't know how many fans they're allowing, but they're gonna get followed. So putting them in a city like Nashville could make sense. You do have the Memphis Grizzlies are very close. You're kind of siphoning off their fan base if the NBA was going to put a team there. But we have to know is wherever Toronto ends up playing, the NBA is going to look at that city and say, okay, would this work to have a professional team play here? We'll find out. What would make sense is for Toronto to go to a big city like that, or a place like Seattle maybe. It's very close to Canada. You probably have a lot of fans there. And they're going to have an arena ready to go. That's just my thought, but we'll find out soon where they're going to play. James Harden, he was the big story. James Harden, it's no secret he's not happy in Houston, right? They traded Chris Paul away because him and Chris Paul weren't jiving as well anymore. They brought in Russell Westbrook, and granted, Westbrook and Harden have had their struggles in the past, and they've played together now on 2 different teams. This is 4 fingers. I'm holding up 4 fingers. I just need 2 fingers. But there are rumors that Harden could be traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. The problem with this is the 76ers don't have any assets to trade. Yes, they do have Embiid and Simmons, but isn't the point of bringing Harden in so that you can pair him with Embiid and Simmons? What would the Sixers do? They're going to have to package picks. They're going to have to package Tobias Harris or Al Horford in some way. I don't think Al Horford's really going to fetch them much. They're going to have to trade away a young player maybe. I'm curious to see what the Sixers come up with here, but almost every rumor I'm hearing regarding James Harden is that he wants to go play with the Sixers. Would his style of play match with Doc Rivers? It could. I think he'd play really well, though, with Embiid. And I think he'd play really well with Simmons and probably show him some pointers. Especially showing Simmons how to shoot 3-pointers. That would be really nice because the guy apparently just forgot how to do that. So yeah, Philadelphia is going to pursue James Harden. That's a pretty done deal by the look of it at this point. NHL Talk, Alex Ovechkin is approaching the last year of his 13-year contract. I bet you feel old now, because I remember when they signed that and thinking, wow, that's like 1,000,000 years from now. That's what I sounded like in high school. But either way, wow, I'm kind of embarrassed by that. I'm just kidding. Anyway, Ovechkin, 13-year, $124 million contract. He signed on January 10th, 2008, and here we are 12 years later. There's only 2 teams in this world Ovechkin says he wants to play for, and recently gushed about the second one, which is Dynamo, the Moscow Dynamo, which is the team he played for prior to joining the Capitals and during the 2012 NHL stoppage halt. I don't know what you want to call it. He said that's the only other team he would ever want to play for, so Capitals are bust. But he did make it clear that he feels he still has a few more years in this league. So when this contract's up, don't be surprised if he signs another 2, 3, 4 million, a 4-year contract, probably for less than he was before, but maybe not. They could do an incentive-laden plan. The guy still scores 48 goals a season. Is nothing to scoff at. That's the Rehired trophy, who he's won like 400 times now. He has 700th NHL goal February 22nd of this year. If he keeps playing the way he's playing, he could pass Gretzky as the highest goal scorer in NHL history. And I would not be surprised if he did. Alex Ovechkin, good on you, man. Last but not least, Alabama, 13th straight year at number 1. Doesn't that, I don't know, college football to me gets pretty boring when it's just the same stuff, different day, right? It's the same teams every year. You have Ohio State, you have Clemson, you have Alabama, and then you're going to have your random third team, let's call it Oregon this year, or, I don't know, Georgia. But yeah, good for the Alabama team. Roll Tide. Okay, friends. That's all I have for today. Special thanks, as usual, to Johanna Drago. She is the content designer, logo designer, and she did previously design our set once, so she's got that going for her. Special thanks, as usual, to my social media warriors, Mary Kay and Gary Albert. Thanks for listening to the show every week. Of course, we got Joe Calabro, who's and Jorge Pajares, and we got a lot of listeners out there. And if you're a listener and you like listening, please share with your friends. By the way, the music you hear for the show is a song called Golden Sunrise by Josh Woodward. Link to his website can be found in the show notes. And with that, you can find me on all your favorite websites. Just type in Sports with Nick Drago. That's me. You can find me on SoundCloud, Twitter, YouTube, and the Facebook. And, by the way, you can also email me directly, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Tell me what you want to hear, see, or know about the show, and I will possibly get back to you. I'm just kidding. I love it when people email me. So, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell that weird cousin you haven't spoken to in 7 years, but for some reason, you're talking to them today, you're talking about sports, and you said, hey, I heard this really cool podcast, Sports with Nick Drago. Don't let it leave your memory bajiggers. All right, friends, that's all the time I have for today. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you enjoyed the sports. Good luck to the Jets and their matchup with the Patriots tomorrow. And, of course, have a lovely day. Caw-caw!